Today I will be showing you how to create a flight plan for the Field Hawk. This will be a quadcopter flight plan, so to begin we will go into the Mission Planner app. From here we will go into the Flight Plan tab. So here is our map. We are going to want to find the field we want to fly. So for example, let's say I want to fly this field right here. First thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to choose where I'm going to launch the drone from. So let's say I'm going to come down the road and I'm going to park right here. I'll probably launch the drone from right here. So first thing I have to do is right click and then set home here. The home point is the launch point where I plan to launch the drone from. That way it gives me accurate flight time and whatnot. The next thing we want to do is check our default altitude. This will be the altitude that we're going to be flying at, no matter what the survey grid tab says. So this one's set at 120. We want to check our units. So if you go into config and tuning, we see that our distance units are set at meters. So I'm going to change that to feet, and I'm going to change the altitude units to feet as well, and the speed units to miles per hour. Now if I go back into the flight plan tab, I know that this is 120 feet, and I want to, for this mission, I want to fly at 400 feet, so I'm going to change it to 400. Next, I want to check on this box to make sure it says relative. This basically means it's going to fly 400 feet relative to the launch point right here. Now, if this field has a lot of dips and valleys and hills, what I want to do is click verify height. What this will do is that this will alter the altitude so that the drone stays a consistent 400 feet above the ground, following the dips and the hills of the terrain. Now to begin planning a mission, you want to create a polygon around the area you want to fly. To do that, you simply left click on this circle until it turns green, and now you are in polygon mode. You can now left click and put red polygon markers around the area you want to fly. If for some reason you happen to mess up, you can right click on this and click delete waypoints. If you want to reset the polygon, you can right click on the circle and that will make them go away. I'm going to go ahead and create my polygon again. Now that I have my polygon created, I'm going to go ahead and right click and go to auto waypoint and then survey grid. So here is our survey grid tab. One thing to notice is that the area, the stats box down here, you will see the number of pictures, estimated flight time, your photo interval, number of strips. So the first thing we want to change is we want to match this altitude with the altitude we chose here, because this altitude dictates what the drone will fly at. This altitude here is basically to help design the lawnmower pattern. So I'm going to type in 400. That looks a little bit better. Next setting is the angle setting. You can turn this up and down to change the angle of the flight. Normally you want to have this angle set in a way that if you look here in the number of strips, you want to have the least amount of strips as well as a lower flight time. So for example, right here I have 27, 26, 25, 24 strips there, 23 strips there. So it looks like 23 strips is going to be the lowest amount of strips, because this will have the drone spend less time changing direction, which will in turn have a less flight time. I mean, it will basically take less time to fly this path. Next, we want to change the speed. This drone, the Field-Hawk drone, flies pretty efficiently at 20 to 22 miles an hour. So if we click 20 miles per hour, increase it to 22. We also want to have these 4 boxes check marked. So we want to have camera top facing forward, use speed, add takeoff and land waypoints, use RTL. So for this mission, it's going to take 40 minutes. It's going to take 800 pictures. Our ground resolution is 1.77 inches. Our photo every interval is 2.25 seconds. That is a little fast. We want to actually slow it down to around at least 2.5 seconds. This is close enough, because if you fly too fast, then you might lose some pictures because the camera won't have enough time to process them. So now that we see that we have a flight time of 44 minutes, what we can do next is go into our grid options tab. So right now the overlap and side lap are set 80-80. This setting is for the highest quality images. Let me repeat that. The 80 overlap and 80 side lap is basically settings so that you get more precise data with the pictures, because more of the data will overlap and it will be managed more evenly. However, if you turn down the overlap, you will see that it starts to decrease the amount of pictures that it takes. The lowest overlap we've run is 60. And next, if we look at side lap, we can turn it down. The lowest side lap we've run is 50. This doesn't provide the most accurate data, but it does provide pretty good flight time. So now with a 60-50 setting, our flight time would be 19 minutes and 41 seconds, with our photo intervals being at 4.95 seconds. That's a great spot to be. Next thing we would do is we would select heading hold, and this would basically tell the drone to keep facing the same direction all the time, so its heading is held. So this overlap and side lap is basically up to the user, depending on if they want higher quality or if they want more flight time to cover more area in less time. We haven't tried lower values than these. So for example, like that, we haven't tried that, but it's all to the user on what he would like to use. So let's say we want the best quality data. We can go back up to 80 overlap and 80 side lap. So now we see that our flight time is going to be 44 minutes. That's too long for the drone to fly in one mission. But what we can do is we can split the mission into several segments. So right now it's one whole segment. When we split it into 2 segments, I'm going to go ahead and click accept, but notice that our photo every interval is a little low, so to change that we would turn down the speed. But we're going to keep it at 20 for now. Since I split it into 2 segments, I'm going to go ahead and click accept to show these waypoints. So basically at the beginning it has a do jump command, which basically skips to the third waypoint, and then this will tell the drone to do half of the mission and it'll get to the 73rd waypoint. So if we scroll down, 73rd waypoint, right before has a return to launch. So when it gets here, it's halfway done to the mission, it would then return to the launch point, and then you would swap the battery, you would connect to Mission Planner, you would then delete this do jump command by pressing delete on the first one, and now the first command would be jump to waypoint 73, and then it would do the second half of the mission. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back into the survey grid tab. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and clear mission, then auto waypoint survey grid, so it creates the mission again. Change back up our speed, 20 miles an hour. I'm going to change the overlap back to 60 and the side lap to 50. That way it'll be at a 19-minute and 41-second mission. Heading hold. All these boxes are checked. Photo interval is good. We're going to take 159 pics. And 19 minutes. 60-50. Going to click accept. So once we have our mission, we can save it to the computer. And we're going to call this one. We usually name our flight plans very descriptive so that we know what exactly the mission entails, flight time and everything. So what I like to do is have a name for the field, and then how many pictures it's gonna take, the overlap and side lap, and then the length of the mission. So I'm gonna put 20 minutes, and then click save. Now I have that mission saved. For future reference, if I want to load that mission again, I'm going to go ahead and clear everything. So in the future I want to load that mission again, I would simply go to load WP file, find the mission, open, reset home, load to loaded coordinates, press yes. So now we have the mission once again. We would now go ahead and we are now able to go ahead and write this mission onto the drone. So I will go over this with the USB cable. So just plug in the USB cable into the computer and then plug it into the side of the drone where the cube is at. Now we can click on COM3, connect, once that's done loading, I can now write waypoints. Now those waypoints have been sent to the drone. the drone will only store one mission, so if I want to double check what's in the drone, I can click read waypoints. And we have the same mission again. We can also load the waypoints through Wi-Fi. So if I disconnect the drone and plug in the battery to the drone, we'll wait for it to initialize. Then we would go into the Wi-Fi settings, wait for ardupilot to pop up, connect to it, and then we would go to UDP and connect. We would press OK. And now it's connecting through Wi-Fi. And now that we're connected, we can read the waypoints. We can load a different one. You can load, example, we probably first want to clear this mission, and then load a new one. Click yes. So we have this flight right here. We can write it. Then we'll read it to make sure it's in there. And it is. And that's basically it for creating a flight plan.